Activision has done it again, which should come as no surprise to anyone, really. With only a single positively received release in the past decade, who was honestly surprised that Black Ops 7, with its trailers being so heavily disliked, released to not only horrid reviews, but also some pretty serious controversy? I think we'd all be lying if anybody said this release wasn't a long time coming, for as long as the COD cycle is at least anyway, but not for any positive reasons at all. Several lead developers from other companies stated months ago in now deleted posts that they expected Black Ops 7 to fail, but that didn't raise any warning flags for Activision, who continued to plow on with the train wreck that was released a couple of weeks ago. So confident, in fact, were Activision that the executives believed the franchise was too big to fail, a statement which clearly didn't age well in the slightest under Microsoft demanding a 30% profit margin from their gaming section. And with sales down roughly 61% from Black Ops 6, it's fairly safe to say that Amy Hood will be knocking on someone's door this quarter demanding answers and profit, lest they face even more cuts after recently laying off 3,500 people last year. Which leads me into the primary controversy surrounding the release of Black Ops 7. Activision has most certainly embraced the AI age, as much of the artwork used for calling cards is noted as being AI, with such a notice being on the Steam page to help cement the claims. So we can pretty safely assume that the staff who were laid off were probably artists. Good work saving money there, Activision. But, of course, with Microsoft's head of AI unable to grasp why people dislike AI, even despite the damage it's been doing to Microsoft Windows, who honestly is surprised here? But if AI artwork was all I had to talk about, then this would be a very short video, because clearly artwork wasn't all that AI played a part in. Now, while this is just a theory I personally have, I'd like to think that AI also played a part in the writing of this amazing single-player experience, which, by the way, requires a constant internet connection. Now, I'll be upfront, I haven't played the game and I have zero intention of getting it, but I've seen enough to know that it is an absolute joke.
Fire on it! Do some damage!
Shoot! Shoot it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
It has very little to do with anything Call of Duty, aside old characters making a comeback, which I'm led to believe is only for nostalgia purposes, if you can even call it that. Even the COD diehards who only stream the franchise and slandered Battlefield and its player base during the beta are genuinely struggling to keep a straight face when attempting to talk positively about Black Ops 7, with many needing awkwardly long, silent periods before saying anything about it. Then again, most are probably also paid by Activision in some way, shape, or form to talk positively about the game, so I suppose I'd be picking my words pretty carefully too. But all they're talking about how Battlefield would collapse once the COD crowd left for Black Ops 7 has been shown to be bluster, with Battlefield losing players at a fairly expected rate of decay for any game, though at the time of writing it's becoming pretty clear that the Battlefield community is getting pretty fed up with the growing problems, which I'll talk about in a bit. Despite this, COD failed to come even remotely close to the player count Battlefield has, even at its lowest, with Black Ops only managing to break 100k active players on one day. So with sales at record lows and Microsoft demanding more income, no doubt these microtransactions are going to be up front and center for the lifetime of the game. Not to mention $40 DLCs every month or two. As far as the COD franchise goes though, this would appear to be just another nail in a coffin that's barely keeping itself afloat, and with pressure coming from higher up, tighter than ever, it will at least be interesting to see how Black Ops 7's lifetime progresses, if nothing else. I'd like to be really clear straight up though, that Battlefield 6 isn't perfect either, and the current numbers are reflecting that. They're dancing around a lot of problems and trying to appeal to everyone right now, and everyone's upset, and if this continues, that's going to be how it remains, and players will continue to slowly bleed from the game. Sitting on the fence really isn't helping anyone, or fixing anything. To compound this problem, EA has thumbed their nose at longtime Battlefield community members by giving us maps that are a fraction of the size the community's used to, with no Battlefield 6 maps even coming in the top 10 for largest size, which is really abysmal. Now, EA have commented saying that the devs have heard the complaints, but who genuinely knows with game devs these days if they heard what they wanted to hear or if they did actually hear the community. It's also worth noting that EA used Season 1 to throw a multitude of microtransactions into the game on top of the ridiculous store page, which took me a good 10 minutes to figure out how the Battle Pass even worked. To this day, even having picked it up, I still am frustrated at how silly it was to purchase the Battle Pass, and unless I'm wrong, and I could be, the only way to buy the Battle Pass was to buy in-game currency and then buy the Battle Pass. I couldn't just buy it outright. But that's only the starting point of the problem. Season 1 was paid content. A mere month after the game was released for a premium price, they decided to dump a paid Battle Pass on people, which, as you can imagine, soured the taste buds of most people who just shelled out full price for a new game. The real ire of most people right now, though, is that they've locked daily missions behind specific game modes such as Battle Royale and other unpopular game types. Things people wouldn't play if they weren't forced to. EA did state that they were going to stop forcing missions into game modes people don't play, but that hasn't been something that's changed, at least for me, as I'm still getting missions in game types I don't play. The current extra event that's running right now, California Resistance, just cycles one map on 2 different modes and locks a weapon behind missions which require you to play a third game mode that not many people play, which is super frustrating, and I'm sure there's more I'm forgetting even as I write this. All in all, it's evident that Black Ops 7 is a failure, at least as far as a Call of Duty title is concerned. But with its main competitor Battlefield starting strong and then failing to follow up strongly with its Season 1 paid content, this on top of me being fairly certain Battlefield plans to release new paid content every 3 to 4 months, which may or may not even give the players what they actually want as far as content goes, means the slipping numbers may continue to slide until they start to approach the current Black Ops ones. And at that point, can we still consider Battlefield 6 to be the success we originally thought it was? Battlefield has had an identity problem for a long time now, speeding up its gameplay, messing around with class dynamics, gradually shrinking maps, and minimizing or outright removing vehicle roles. And while much of these were mitigated in Battlefield 6, their shadows were still present, and I genuinely worry that EA won't let them go in favor of trying to steal Call of Duty players rather than catering to their existing community, which, as we can see, is steadily dwindling and will continue to as people get fed up. While in direct competition, the two games have always had two very different communities with a little overlap. Call of Duty is faster, more competitive, and much more run and gun action. Battlefield, on the other hand, has always been a slower and much more tactical game. Over the years, Battlefield has lost this identity by trying too hard to cater to the Call of Duty crowd, and I feel that as EA continues to try and headhunt, veterans of the Battlefield community will continue to turn away, going back to other large-scale military games like Hell Let Loose. This is a problem that EA can fix, but unfortunately we'll have to wait until paying for Season 2 before we can see if they bothered to listen, or if the hooks are too deep into the COD community to even be pulled out. But that's just my opinion. If you have a different one, or even a similar one, feel free to let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to know when I upload.